Avowed is a game with relatively simple design choice. If you're interested, it's best to manage your expectation. Here is what the game doesn't have. Avowed doesn't have a deep progression system, especially for fighter or ranger. In my first playthrough as a pure swordsman, I had a grand total of 3 active abilities by the end of the game, and the rest of my point went into very standard passive. You'll have a lot more options if you choose to use magic, which has decent variety but nothing as complex as what you get in the original Pillars of Eternity games. Similarly, for equipment, you won't get the vast areas of customization option. Unique weapons are limited to one of enchantment options, and spellbook have 4 present spell each. There is no way to make your own custom weapon or spellbook for a completely personalized approach. Although it doesn't have fancy animation or cutscenes, many of its major events are left up to your imagination. For example, in the opening sequences you get shipwrecked, but the only thing the game shows you is a moment of stormy seas. Some cannon fire in the distance, then its cutscenes to black you wake up on the beach, and that sets the tone for the entire game. You're not going to find glorious cinematic or a text skill that make you look like a wushu master performing Final Fantasy limited breaks. In the synthesis where something extremely significant happens, you usually don't get to watch the actual incident at all. You're just told the occurred and you see a minor changes in scenery reflecting what happened. It's a game where you're going to have to let your imagination fill in the blank for the greatest impact. As many critics have pointed out, WoW doesn't have immersive realism. The most cited example is that you can loot whatever you want, wherever you want, and aside from a few snide remarks, but your companion no one bats an eye. But as a result, you get to focus on exploration, to take pleasure in discovering all the hidden paths and finding all the tricky nooks and crannies that hold the world's secrets. Evolved has incredibly beautiful environment. This is one of those expressive where you can't help but shift the camera around every time you're about to save, so that you can gaze at your gorgeous thumbnails later. It's also nifty how they enabled you to make an attractive character in spite of the story-centric mutation in your character face. Evolved has very satisfying combat. Your heavier strike will fly enemies around like ragdolls with gratifying heft. There's an option to turn on a cool time dilation effect whenever you dodge or party at just the right moment. And chaining powerful spells makes you feel like all of nature's rest is your far trips. Combat is about primary gameplay loop, a pretty simple one that done very well. Avowed has solid writing. There were plenty of dialogues that made me loud, and all of the characters you speak to feel appropriately fleshed out. Fortunately, the writers were constantly by the aforementioned lack of animation. It's difficult, for example, to write a grief-stricken character when the character has to remain standing upright in every single scene, with a very limited reporter of arm motion to express their sorrow. Thus, in the most serious moment of the game, everything is somber yet never feels appropriately climatic or dramatic. While not nearly a bad thing, it means that the characters struggled to really tug on my heartstring, sought their personal arc, and there are definitely arc, with well-written character growth, at least on paper. It's just that again, the impact on player is rather stifled. If Avowed were a book of isometric RPG, the writer could describe Stan in much greater depth and detail. But Finns, the character, are stuck in full view in front of the camera. The writers were focused to make go with deep conversation and little to no physical expression to accompany it, which feels very restricting in spite of mostly excellent voice acting and believable dialogue. Thank you for watching, guys, and hope to see you later, my friends. Goodbye.